some cartoons and vodka and do them all night long. Are you ready for some fun? Drink 'em down, drink 'em down, drink 'em down. Drink 'em down, drink 'em down, drink 'em down. Oh.
I was always planning to get to this one, but then I realized right after my Metal Gear Solid video is a great time to do a lighthearted family sitcom set in the middle of Cold War spy intrigue. Spy X Family is about the best spy in all of Westeros, Twilight. A master of disguise in close combat, he is at the front line of maintaining peace in this Cold War with Made-Upistan. He has dedicated his life to being a solo arbiter of shadowy justice, always alone and unrecognized. Oh, and his next mission is to get married and have a kid. There is a reason they really need intel on this one politician, but he is super locked down. Doesn't go anywhere except to school events for his children at this super prestigious academy. And his youngest is about to be entered, so the plan is for Twilight to enter some orphan and then maybe meet the guy at parents' night or something. They are really desperate. The newly aliased Lloyd Forager gets himself a family apartment and then heads out to get himself a kid. He hits up a decidedly shady orphanage because it's easier to make a paper trail if there isn't already one to replace. He asks if they have any kids who are able to read and write already and gets introduced to Anya. She seems a bit young, but after solving a frankly obscene crossword puzzle, Lloyd agrees to adopt her. And if you couldn't tell from the triangles on her head, Anya is telepathic. She can hear all of Lloyd's thoughts and thinks him being a spy on a mission is just the coolest thing. They go do some shopping and Anya has trouble hiding the fact that she isn't actually a super genius, she can just read minds. Any of you remember Muso telepathy? Anya has a lot of the same issues, but is much more willing to embrace her selfish 5-year-old side. And then she gets kidnapped by people tracking Twilight, so Daddy has to do a big save. But Anya still wants to live with him, and even though it's hard, she passes the preliminary entrance exam. Hooray for family! Of course, can this really be a family without a mother? Well, yes, obviously it can, but the academy they're trying to infiltrate is super stuffy old school, so Twilight needs to somehow find a wife who doesn't mind the fact that he has a kid and is willing to lie about how old their relationship is. Well, while he was getting Anya fitted for nicer clothes, somehow this woman named Yor slips into his blind spot and senses that she is being watched. Cause it turns out Yor is a deadly assassin, and Anya just thinks that's so damn cool, and does some subtle hinting that she needs a mom. Which works out great, cause Yor happens to be looking for someone to pretend to be her boyfriend at a party. Now the initial plan was just for a very temporary alliance, just get through the party and get Anya into the academy. But Yor is a bit of a ditz. She's just not very good at pretending to be normal since she's been doing contract assassination since she was like 12. This makes her very quick to believe Lloyd's very bad lies about another mission that followed him home. And her physical skills are probably higher than Lloyd's, so they make a really good team. And Lloyd is just concussed enough that he isn't asking questions tonight. So they decide to make the arrangement a bit more permanent in order to better maintain each other's cover. That's the basic setup for this comedy. The father is a spy on a mission, the mother is an assassin, and the kid is telepathic. That is a lot of moving pieces. It is very high concept. So it's a relief that it makes me laugh my tits off. Of course, Anya having mind-reading powers gives her a lot of insight into proceedings that adults assume she doesn't have, leading to lots of tasty dramatic irony. But that's not the only joke we get from her. Anya is an insightful child who wants to help her daddy achieve world peace, but she is still a kid. She gets clingy, or selfish sometimes, and would really rather watch her favorite spy cartoon than study. Also, when she gets into the academy, she tries to become friends with the son of the target for the sake of world peace, but he's an arrogant prick, and when she hits the point where
that's all I can stand. I can't stand no more.
She uses the punching lessons she got from Yor to clock this guy in the face. But like, her standing up to this kid gives him impossible to understand feelings, so I guess it will all work out in the end. Yor gets a lot of jokes about how she doesn't really get how to behave normal. Sometimes in oddball ways, other times in letting her assassin skills show all over a horrible mugger. There's a really good chapter about her sucking at cooking and getting lessons from a work friend. I like how this one ends with her actually remembering how to cook an old family recipe from her mom, nailing it from sense memory, and making Anna and Lloyd a really great stew that they love. And we also meet her younger brother, who's a member of the secret police and also has a huge sister complex. They aren't going anywhere grosser with this, thankfully, but I still would be happy never seeing this character trope again. He's very funny with his over-the-top reactions, but I just do not get a character whose main motivation is, "No, don't take my sister from me."
Ew, disgusting.
Lloyd's jokes mostly relate to the great lengths he has to go to for his jobs. See, apparently the spy agency he's working for is having a bit of a staffing issue. So even though he has made a family and is constantly working towards getting closer to the primary target, he has to take on other smaller jobs in the meantime. This is where a lot of the spy jokes come in, the silly gadgets, the funny ways his job contacts him. There's a lot of emotional relief and warmth in the way Lloyd finds himself emotionally bonding with his fake family in spite of himself. And that is the part of the manga I like the best. The comedy is really funny and some of the spy action is genuinely thrilling, but what it really nails is that feeling you get from old sitcoms where no matter how wild and out there the plot gets, the family will always come together and support each other. Lloyd is a surprisingly typical Japanese dad who just lives for the work. But even though he keeps thinking to himself that he'd really prefer if he could do this mission solo, interacting with Anya just reminds him of why he got into the spy business in the first place, to stop wars and stop other children from crying. And yeah, it's really adorable watching him develop a real crush on Yor. Yor is in no way skilled at typical mom stuff, not being a good cook or particularly good at cleaning things other than corpses. But she's fallen into this little family that loves her for her absurd strength and sense of justice. Anya isn't really naturally inclined to studying and academics, but she knows that she has to do it for the sake of world peace, so she sticks at it, and the family is really supportive of her finding happiness outside of the academics, even though, she has to keep her grades up. This whole family sitcom setup is just light subversions of the expectations placed on the typical Japanese family members, and them finding happiness even though they don't fit the mold. It's hella wholesome. Highly recommended. It makes me laugh and smile in equal measure. Till next time, I'm Pluto Burns, and this has been Eagle Land.